Let's start with today's first topic, which is input function. Input function. In the previous lecture, we learned about print function, and we learned that to print anything on the screen we use print function, but while using print function we had to give some sort of value to print function to print something. But this time we want to take value from user and then we want to print it. So we use input function. The use of input function is to take the input from the users. To understand more about input functions, we will take some questions, and by solving that questions we will understand more about input functions. So let's go to Jupyter Notebook. So by writing input, we will get a box, and in this box we can put our input. Let's say we want to print XYZ. Then by running it, in the output we will get XYZ in the form of string. Earlier, if we wanted to store any value in any variable, we used to write something like x is equals to 3. Then the value of 3 will get stored in the x. Similarly, we want to store the value of input in some variable. For that, we need to write something like this. Let's say we want to store someone's name as input. So name is equals to input. So here whatever user will give input will be stored in variable name, and then we want to print this name. Okay, let's run this. Let's say the name of the person is John. Now the name, here we need to print the name. There is a little correction over here. Okay, by running this we will get output as John. Okay, let's take another example, and this example will be little bit tricky. Let's say A is equals to input, and we want to print A. Let's say the value of A is 15. So the output is 15. Let's check the data type of this A. So to check the data type, we have to use function type. In the type function we will write A, and let's check it. At this moment, please pause the video and write your answer in the comment section. What do you think, what should be the type of A? If you are thinking the data type of A should be integer, then you are wrong here. The data type of A is string. Why is it string? Let's understand. So in Python, by default everything is in the form of string when you use input function. So no matter what the value you take from user, it will always be in the form of string. Okay, so let's understand more about this by taking one question, and by solving that question we will understand the next concept. So the question is, take two numbers as input and add those two numbers and print the result. Let's solve this in the Jupyter notebook. To take the first value, we have to write a is equals to input. By doing this, we will get the value of first number from user, and similarly we want to take the second number from user. For that we will write b is equals to input, and now we want to make the total of a and b. For that we will make another variable called total, and then we will store the sum of a and b inside a total. Let's print total. So let's say value of a is 5 and value of b is 3. So if you are thinking that value of a plus b is equals to 8, then it will not be 8 and it will be 5 3. Why is it giving 5 3 instead of 8? Because as we understood that the value of the output of input function is always a string. So here the output of a and b is in the form of string instead of integer. So it is giving 5 3. So first of all we need to convert the string output into a integer output. For that we have to learn another concept, and our second concept called typecasting. Typecasting. Let's say our output is in the form of string and we want to convert it into the integer. So to convert the string output in an integer, we have to use integer function. So int input of this and this. By doing this input function will give the output in the form of string, and this integer function will convert it in the form of integer. This is called the typecasting. So let's correct our previous code. So we will write integer here and similarly here. By running this code, let's say the value of a is 5 and then value of b is 3. Enter. At this time we get the output as 8. Let's understand more about typecasting in a detail. Let's say your input is 15.5 and you want to convert this in the form of integer. So if you write int 15.5, then what should be the output? Let's do this in a Jupyter notebook. So a is equals to input and int a. We are taking the input from a user and then we are printing that. print A. So let's say the input is 1.5. So in this code we will get error because 1.5 is a float and we are trying to convert it in the form of integer. So this will throw a error. So to convert the 1.5 into a integer, first of all we need to convert 1.5 in the form of float. So to correct this code, we will first of all convert the A into a float. For that, by doing this, we will now this 1.5 is in the form of float, and when we will convert this in the form of integer, it will just remove the decimal value and will give the output as 1. So integer A will give the that's my mistake. Integer of float of A will give you the output as 1. So we can use the typecasting for the boolean as well. As we have learned in our previous lecture that in the boolean, true is equal to 1 and false is equal to 0. So let's see this in a Jupyter notebook. At this time we want to convert boolean into an integer. So we will use typecasting again, and integer of true. This will give us 1. Okay. Similarly, we want to convert false into integer. False. As we have discussed that false represent the 0. So this will give 0. So, and vice versa, we can convert integer into a boolean as well. For that we have to use bool and let's say 1. So this will give true. And let's take another example. In that we want to convert we want to convert 100 into a boolean. Is it possible or not? You can write your answer in a comment section by pausing at this moment. So will it throw error or not? So when we run this code, it will not throw an error. Why? Let's understand. In Python, everything except 0 and blank parenthesis is true. Okay, so blank parenthesis or 0 represents false and everything else is true. Let's take another example. As we have said, everything is true, then will it give true for any name? So yes, it will be true for name also. As we have discussed, it is true for everything except the 0 and blank parenthesis. So for blank parenthesis, for blank quotation, we are getting false. Sorry, I meant quotation, not the parenthesis. So let's take one question. You can take this question as the quiz also. So the question is, what will be the output of print integer, or we can say bool of false? So the answer of this should be true. Let's understand why this is true. So we have take the question as print bool of, in the quotation mark, false. So this function will give us true. Why? Because this is not a 0 or this is not a blank quotation. So this is give us true, and it will simply print the true in the output. Okay, so that's all from my side. I will meet you in the next session. Goodbye.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.